out to the greenhouse. We're out here talking about wiring in series and wiring in parallel. So I'm going to break it down and make it super simple to understand. We will be wiring two 12-volt batteries together to make a 12-volt system and wiring them together to make a 24-volt system. Now, if that sounds interesting, please consider subscribing to the channel. The reason we may want to use a 24-volt system is like a higher demand, higher voltage. So we have a 500-watt windmill that might not produce all of that 500 watts, but we may use some type of inverter with that system, and we can have this little battery bank or a larger battery bank upscaled. Now, we also like to wire these together for 12 volt for our smaller 12 volt systems, and that gets better longevity on these systems itself by creating a larger, longer lasting battery. So let's jump right into this. I'm going to bring the camera up here and we're going to wire this up. Just spinning the camera around, you can see we wired up all of our lights. Greenhouse is looking awesome. Some more fish food here. My son probably already fed them. They don't look that hungry. Usually they're like ravenous piranhas eating all the pellets up there. We've got our little multimeter. We're going to be checking to make sure we're actually doing this right here. Bunch of cool little systems and experiments going on up here. Stay tuned. We will have plenty of cool heating experiments coming. So let's set the camera up. So we'll start by wiring a 12-volt battery wire. Now, I have a full loop of alligator clips. Now I've got 4 different full loops of alligator clips here. I can show all those. Just little testers. Now anytime I cut a wire off of any type of system to reattach it or put a different attachment fitting on, I always like to save them so I can just attach another fitting or alligator clip as little test wires here. So let's get to wiring this. So first things first, we're going to wire ourselves. I'm going to turn them like this. So we've got positive, negative, positive, negative. We're going to hook the positive to positive there. So that's just on a full loop, positive to positive. Now we are going to take negative to negative. So now our two 12-volt batteries are wired in parallel. So we've got our negative out wire coming in, and then we've got our positive out wire going out there. Now let's get our multimeter and take the measurement of this here. We've got our positive and our negative. Set our multimeter right here. We're going to touch our negative, and then we'll touch our positive. 12.9. So it's sitting at 12.9 volts coming out of there. Nice healthy batteries. So it's quite simple to wire the two 12-volt batteries in parallel to get the positive to positive, negative to negative, and then you just hook it up like one large battery. Your positive goes to positive in and negative in. So with these batteries wired in parallel, we are getting more current and the same volts. So we're getting the 12.8 volts for each of these, but we are doubling our current. Our 8 amps is going to turn into 16 amps. So we've got a stronger current with these two batteries together, and we are able to last longer with 2 batteries as opposed to just 1. So we created a larger battery cell. Now let's create ourselves a stronger battery cell. So we'll be wiring these two in a series in order to get 24 volts. So with 24 volts or in series, we are going to get a larger voltage but the same 8 amp hour current. So next in this series wiring, we've got to connect our batteries together, positive to negative, and then we've got our negative out. So we've got our negative out, we've got our positive out, and we would make a spark if they touched. Positive, we're going to hook up. After a little spark, and hopefully not ruining my multimeter, seems to work still, but I had a little spark on it because it is only 12 volt and I overloaded it. So we did create a 24 volt system by running these batteries in series. So we could power a lot more voltage coming out of there, but the same amps, so it's the same current. So this 24 volt system is a stronger battery cell. 24 volts are 12 volt in parallel batteries are a longer lasting battery source. So I'm not super experienced with multimeters. I mean, I know how to use them, and I didn't even think about the fact that we were running 24 volt and it literally says 12 volt there. It did kind of blacken the tip of it, so I'm gonna try and clean that off. Just one little side, but it like welded it, so it was a interesting experience there. So a perfect example of why I would need those longer lasting 12 volt batteries. Both of these are wired separately, powering each of these systems, and pairing a deeper cycle battery or a larger battery system with some type of timer system, which we've got to get one set up for our greenhouse pond over there also. But that pairing of those systems really increase your longevity, and for quite cheap, just simple autonomous systems here, like our geothermal just pulsing away here. Spiders keep building webs in there. So if anyone had any questions on anything I covered today, I really wanted to put this video up just in case I do go forward and choose to use a 24 volt system, so I can just put this video out and refer back to it. Pretty simple. Hopefully it's decently short, and it's explanatory of how to wire those up and how not to burn up your multimeter. So I really haven't had much experience using a 24 volt system because that is for a much higher demand. We've really done it cheaply and simply. And like I was saying, I want to get an inverter to be able to control the flow of that energy and harness it a little better. And it'll be really nice to have a backup system that I can just tap right into if it's really windy outside and we don't have any sunlight or solar activity coming into a certain system in the greenhouse. Most of them operate with a cloudy day like this. We've had maybe 20 minutes of full sun all day, and it's fully cloudy now. It's completely gone. So to hear my compost heated water running, to hear the geothermal and the fans pulsing, and to have little solar heating systems operating all over the greenhouse is very cool. All those autonomous systems are just constantly running, and they're quite simple and cheap to operate. Once you invest, you really don't have to spend a whole lot of money maintaining them or operating them at all. So if anyone has any questions on anything that I covered today, drop it in the comments below. I just wanted to share this to have a video to reference back to. Basically, once I start wiring up a system, I'm going to have a video where I'm pouring the foundation or concrete. I have a half or almost 3/4 bag of concrete that is old, but it's still malleable, so it's not fully solidified. I can still use it. I'll be able to pour some type of DIY foundation. I may weld some pieces onto the pole for more stability because it's going to have a decently heavy windmill, so it'll have some great forces exerted on it, especially in the dead of winter. We get some nasty windstorms and the polar vortexes. It'll be -40, and that's what that thing's rated to. So hopefully we don't have the polar vortex this year, but it seems to come around almost every year where we have a couple weeks of just absolutely freezing, frigid Antarctic temperature. We've got more knowledge than years past with all of our experimenting, and we've got almost everything set up to the point where we're ready to operate for winter. I want to get a few more things planted and a few more experiments set up. And it's really exciting that everybody else finds interest in all of these little subjects and the compost heating, geothermal, and just trying to be a little bit more self-sufficient. I would like to expand our videos outside the greenhouse. We have a whole bunch of stuff that we could share. I just really find the greenhouse to be the most interesting thing, and achieving this through the cheapest means I possibly could, and just sharing the whole journey and continuing this journey is very cool, and it wouldn't be anything without you guys. So with that, I'd like to thank you guys very much, and I will see you in the next video.